Welcome one and all to The Hedge. I'm Steve Inman with The Game Day. We are joined by a grade A guest today. We've got N1 mixtape legend Wally Dixon, aka The Main Event. We couldn't be more excited. Wally, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh man, thank you, Steve, for having me on the show. I feel honored to be on the show, be a part of something special that you have going on over there.
Oh, much appreciated there. I remember playing N1 Street Ball on PlayStation, so let me first say it is an honor to have you here. Let's start at the beginning. Your mainstream fame started when you originally won the high school national dunk contest?
I think as far as what people know who Wally Dixon was, and go back a little before that, I want to give credit to AAU, also my PAL coach Tyrone Gibbons and my AAU coach Brian Crawford, the North Rams. And then in high school, for people around the state to see me, the Nets used to have a slam dunk championship every year, and I won it like 3 years, maybe 4 years of my high school career. So that was very big.
We'll get to the Nets in a bit, but a lot of people old enough to remember the glory days of N1 think you might be the greatest dunker of all time. How do you think you stacked up against the Vinces, LeBrons, Jordans, Dominiques of the world? Could you have taken them in a dunk contest in your prime?
Well, out of those names that you named, I would have to say Jordan would have definitely gave me a run for my money because I was trying to emulate some of the Jordan things, some of the Dominique Wilkins things. But the other guys you named, I'm pretty sure they're seeing some of or bits and pieces of main events. So I think I could have got them.
Wow, that is something I would have wanted to see.
Salute to them.
I mean, you mentioned the Nets before, mentioning the best of all time. Rumor is you decided not to go to the NBA when you had the chance. You want to walk us through that experience and why you decided to stay on the street ball circuit?
Yeah, when I mentioned the Nets just a few minutes ago, the Nets was the ones that hosted that high school slam dunk championship. Right. So now let's just fast forward. At the time, I was under management by Eugene Napoleon. Today, I'm managed by TMI. But I told him it was an opportunity the Nets gave me. Man, remember, I was recruited by Jeff Van Gundy and Eddie Jordan.
Right.
When I signed with Rutgers University, let's say maybe a week after I signed, those guys went on and went with their careers, which at the time I was young, I was mad. But I understand maturing that, they did what they had to do and they in a better position than Rutgers. They're in the NBA now. So I think it was a twofold thing where Coach Jeff Van Gundy, I want to thank him to this day for giving me an opportunity. And through Eugene Napoleon and through a guy named Renato Mack, who was working for the NBA, they got me a chance to work out at the rookies camp. I worked out the rookies camp for that whole week. I was killing it. I got invited to the veterans camp with Jason Kidd and all of those guys. And I told Eugene Napoleon at the time, I said, you know what? I said, I'm not going to go. He was like, what do you mean? I said, there's two reasons why I'm not going to pursue this. I said, the first reason is a year before that, I was in a car accident where I almost lost my life as well as lost my leg.
Man.
I broke my 10th rib. The mercy break went through my leg. So I knew competitive-wise, I knew I couldn't play an 82-game schedule, especially you talk about the NBA. That's high. Like, when I step on that court, I give my all. So I knew that I would be a disservice to the organization because I wouldn't be able to give my all with my injury. The second reason was, if you go back at any of my interviews I ever done, I always said, I'm going to stop chasing the NBA dream once I turn 26 years old. But I want to be blessed to be in a situation where I can practice with those guys, play against those guys, and just see if I'm good enough or just wasn't good enough. And I fulfilled my own goal, which was that I knew I was good enough. Because the guy who I was killing, they wound up signing him to a 10-day contract. So I fulfilled my own goals, and that was the reason why I chose not to pursue the NBA and with the Nets. And I just went back to the street ball thing, which was really my NBA. Rucker Park was my NBA, and I knew I could control the dynamics of that street ball game versus selling myself short and not holding up to my end of the bargain with the Nets. That was the reason why I didn't pursue that career.
Do you believe that accident didn't happen? You would have pursued that NBA opportunity?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It would have been now, it just would have been still proving to myself at that time. I probably wouldn't have pursued it because I gave myself a timeline. And my timeline was 26 years old.
Yeah.
And that year, I turned 26 years old.
I mean, I have to say, as a New Yorker, I wish I could have seen you at Rucker. People say it's the Garden, but the truth is Rucker Park is the mecca of NYC basketball. Are there any big memories that stick out for you there?
Oh, man. There's so many different memories. People say Rucker Park is the mecca. I also compare Rucker Park to the Apollo because it doesn't matter if you're an NBA player, an overseas player, an All-American, or All-State, or Mr. Basketball. They go by what you do that day at that park. So it was a blessing that I was able to perform at a high level day in and day out. Never taking no days off. And memorable moments for me was I played for a guy named Mousie's Dream Team.
Okay.
And every game, you had to feel like it was the last game. But I just remember playing with some top-of-the-line ball players like Kareem Reed, Elton Brand, Metta War Peace. Those are my championship teams. Future, Shane Drew Machine. But something that stuck out a lot to me, there was this kid that was there. His name was Keith Slaw. And Keith Slaw was, I don't like to use the word have a handicap. I just say that God's special individual.
Okay.
And he always would tell people, this will be merged over with Puffy Team, Bad Boy. So we went from Mousie's Dream Team to Bad Boy. And he would always tell people, yo, I'm Bad Boy. I'm Bad Boy. I'm Bad Boy. And this game, man, Mousy put a jersey on him. He got in the game. Half man, half amazing pass from the ball. Keith Slaw take a jump shot. And the ball was bottom of the net. That's one thing that will always stick out. And another thing would stick out to me. I want to say like in the 90s, when you see a lot of the guys now going through their legs and dunking the ball. Yeah. I did that on the eighth Ave side. I'm coming on a break. I bounced the ball, went through my legs and dunked it. So a lot of the dunks I see now, sometimes I feel a little sentimental, like, yeah, I was doing that in the 80s and 90s. But there's just so many memories playing against a lot of the pro guys, seeing where your game is at, and when the pro guys had to adapt to that style of play.
A lot more physical.
So you got the, oh man, so many different guys. Joe Smith, Steve, they call him the franchise, Francis. So many players came out there, but I mean, that whole experience at Rucker Park is just something special. And for me, it was very special because, you know, they say the best got to come from the big cities. But I proved them wrong that a kid from Linden, New Jersey, by way of Sumter, South Carolina, Dansdale, South Carolina, went to New York for 11 years and dominated on those courts.
I love to hear that. I have to ask while we have you here, who had better handles, Skip to My Lou or Hot Sauce?
You really can't put those two in the same. Hot Sauce was more of a showman, like an entertainer. Skip to My Lou could give you both within a confined little room.
Okay.
That's Hot Sauce is the best illegal ball handler I ever seen in my life. Like, he's great at it because he practiced it. But that Rucker game, I'm trying to explain to people, you go to a Rucker game or a tournament in New York City, certain things you just can't do. They got real referees. But that player that could give you that show game, maybe throw a little more, and then give you a give and go, or or plan a play, that's a special, very special player. So I would have to give it to Skip to My Lou because Skip to My Lou could do both.
That is awesome to hear. We talked before the show about the documentary you have in the making about And One. I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited. You want to tell us a little bit more about that project?
That project we're working on with my team, as well as with TMI, the Blacktop Streetball Association company. I'm basically going to tell that story through my eyes, through my insights on how it started, bringing in 5 guys to a company, the peak of it, and what was the downfall, and what do Blacktop Streetball Association have to offer to the culture. You know, the culture is the community, the youth, the city, the game itself. There's so many different elements. It's like with hip hop. You can't call it hip hop if you take out the B-boys, the B-girls, and the graffiti. It's no longer hip hop. So we just want to bring back the elements of the ingredients of street basketball. And under Blacktop Streetball Association, we're going to bring back street basketball. And the documentary is just basically me telling the story from my insight being from the inside and the outside, just giving a share back of what happened, how did it happen, what could have happened. And it's not really to bash no one, it's just tell the truth. And I was taught that the truth will help or hurt something. And I'm not trying to hurt no one. I just want to share stories to help someone.
That sounds awesome. Do we have like a timeline of when we expect that to come out?
I want to say maybe August or September.
Awesome. That is really great to hear. We can't wait to see that. You mentioned it a little bit before, but And One mixtapes inspired, a whole generation of ballers. How much of your direct influence do you see on some NBA players today?
Oh man, a lot. The way I would like to answer that question is, do you remember what Allen Iverson did as far as the dress code for the NBA?
Of course.
I think our style of play did the same thing for the players on that court. The Kyrie Irvings, the Steph Currys, a lot of those guys took pieces and they was watching us. They had their ballers. See, the guys that I just named and a lot of other guys, there's a difference between a baller and a hooper.
Yeah.
So the Kyrie Irvings and them, those are the ballers, man. Those are the guys who studied pieces of our game, but through their natural abilities and their wanting to be the best, and go back to Iverson, how they wanted everybody to be in the suits and no tattoos. But when he showed them that it could be this way, I think that's the same impact that street basketball gave to the NBA guys, to where the owners and the league is saying, hold up, let's take the shackles off a little bit and let them go out there and do their thing. Because we was able to see, I was able to see Rayford Austin and Skip to my Lou.
Yeah.
The NBA was only one to share Rayford Austin with us. Imagine if they would have let Skip to my Lou break out. Oh man, it would have been incredible.
Is there a guy in the NBA today that reminds you of you?
I like the Blake Griffin, the Kawhi. See, I was more of a game dunker. Like that was my thing. Coming down that middle, just banging it. The Vince Carter when he was playing. There's a couple of guys that's out there that got that bounce, but I give credit to a lot of those guys. You see the dunk contest, I give a lot of credit, but at some point, I really believe that they was watching some of the street ball legends to take bits and pieces, and I commend them for doing it on that high level.
I feel like the dunk contest has gotten a little stale. Like it seems like these guys are not really being creative. We got to get you to coach them up and be like, hey, try this, try that. You get one of these guys under your wing, who knows? You could revitalize the dunk contest.
Man, I would love to do that. I say this and I always say it. I could get 5 guys or maybe 3 guys that will go against any person in the NBA as far as dunking. And what I don't like about the NBA dunk contest is that, see, Jordan went against Dominique. Like the top elite went against each other. It's okay to take a loss during the All-Star weekend. I want to see these heavy hitters, the superstars, go out there and put on a show. That's what
we still haven't seen LeBron James. LeBron James has been around forever. We have not seen him do a dunk contest yet.
Yeah, that's the king. The king don't want to be the throne in any way. I get it. But at the end of the day, those are the essence. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the essence of something, where the best went against the best stuff the best, and that's what it's got to get back to. So I think that's going to be more of the competitive side, because the guy, like you said, LeBron James in the dunk contest, that cat that's coming up in the rankings, he's going to work extra hard because he knows if he beat the king, he's going to always be known as beating the king, not winning the dunk contest, but beating the king.
We got to find a way to incentivize the top guys to do it. I mean, obviously they have all the money in the world, so it's not going to be that. But, you have Obi Toppin versus Anthony Simons. No disrespect to them, but that's not what we want to see. We want to see the king. We want to see, these big time guys. We want to see Zion Williamson. We got to find a way to say, hey, this is important. Make this work.
That's very important, man. And you know what? They could do something to where it don't have to be a winner. Just certain amount of dunks, a certain amount of points you get, we're going to donate to a charity or something.
Love it.
We can take that off, but we got to get that essence of it back. But if they keep playing around, like I said, I got about 5 guys I'll put against anybody in the world as far as dunking.
That is so cool to hear. We got to get you involved in that for sure. Lastly, before we wrap up the show, I hear you're working with Blacktop Streetball Organization. Could you tell us what you're doing with them?
Well, I'm the CEO of the Blacktop Streetball Association. Been working on this for about maybe 2 years now. It's just bringing back the whole essence of street basketball, bringing back all the components, and with someone like myself with the blessings being the narrator of what it should be, I think it's going to be awesome, not only for the players, but also just for the culture. We can't let the culture die. Street ball's been here before, it's going to be here after us, but it's all about what's being portrayed in street basketball. For me, street basketball meant a lot to me because it was a safe haven. It kept me out of trouble, and I want to do the same thing and have opportunities that was given to me to the future. And that's what street basketball, Blacktop Streetball is all about. Opportunity, putting on a good game, going back to street basketball.
Wally, this has been so great. The main event. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. God bless you. Take care. Don't forget, still mask up and be blessed.
Absolutely. That is going to do it for us here on The Hedge. A special thanks to Wally Dixon for joining us. Once again, thank you for watching The Hedge on YouTube and listening to our pod on Apple and Spotify. Make sure to keep it locked in on the game day, and we will talk to you soon.